So, welcome to another episode of Price Targets with your host, Bitcoin Jack. Welcome back, guys. It's going to be a quickie. I'm going to dive into Bitcoin very quickly, but there's also something that we need to discuss regarding Backpack because they're going to be launching season two. And I'm not kidding, but I think there's a possibility to see a 9+ figure airdrop, like market cap wise. And I think they're going to my assumption here is that they're going to release a token as a reward for season one, and they're going to do it to kind of fuel the interest for season two because they're probably going to reward season two users as well. So essentially, airdrop a token that's worth, total market cap, maybe at least lower bound 100 million towards several hundred millions, maybe even a billion, depending on market conditions, and then have season two points as an incentive for an alleged second airdrop, which they probably won't admit is gonna come, but probably is gonna come, just like with the season one points, never been admitted to become actual tokens. But I'm pretty sure it makes the most sense if they do it at launch of season two. Season two is gonna see also new regions. Is that going to be the EU? I'm thinking it's going to be the EU. They are also not able to kind of speak on that because probably regulatory rules or reasons. It makes a lot of sense to me that it's going to be a ton of regions in a ton of countries in the EU. So essentially, what I did here is I compared what Binance and Hyperliquid did when they launched, and looked at their volume, and then looked at the perks the token brings, and then looked at how much the market cap was valued at relative to the volume. And if we then look at current volumes, the lower bound, I'm gonna tweet this like next week, as we start looking at season, as we go towards season two, which is launching on July 3rd. Um, yeah, just using that kind of framework. If you use the BNB valuation, the true lower bound at current like volumes, like today's volume would be 100 million. And if we get to like 500 million daily volume, it's going to be closer towards like 250 million market cap. And if hype is any comparison, which was valued a lot higher relative to its volume, then we're talking about billions here in terms of market cap for the backpack token. So yeah, like if they release like 50 to 60% of the total supply to users throughout like season one, season two, season three, that's a juicy airdrop. Like we're talking about a 9-figure total plus like airdrop to all users, and it's probably gonna get rewarded more towards like the users who scored a lot of points. You could you could score points, and you would relatively get most points for essentially getting referrals, I guess. But the algorithm was kind of unclear, so I don't know exactly what I got these points for. Sometimes it was just for having a position. Sometimes it was for a lot of volume during that week. Sometimes it was probably, you know, um, referrals. I don't know why. Like I got 8,000 points last week and I barely traded. So I don't know. The other thing that I want your attention for, which ties into this, I am completely aligning currently with the Mad Lads NFT collection, and I think it's partially because I just want to push this whole backpack thing quite hard right now because I think there's an opportunity for a very decent, cool kind of airdrop. And then the other thing is that if you get a Mat Lads, you automatically and you put it into your backpack wallet, like your Solana backpack wallet, it automatically bumps you to VIP1 trading fees. So essentially that saves you 75% on your spot fees, and then it saves you like half, like 50% on your futures, like perpetual futures fees. So it makes a lot of sense. Like, and on top of that, if you register with my ref link, and then after that I'm gonna stop shilling, but come to my fucking ref link because it's gonna save you 20% extra on your fee. So once you get into, for example, a mat lad, which is gonna cost you like $5,000, which is not a lot. I mean, maybe to some, but shouldn't be a lot. You you save like 20% on top of this, so that's quite significant. You actually basically get very cheap fees, and once you bump yourself, maybe if you pull enough volume, you get to 0% maker fees, and then obviously the taker fees are slightly different, but it kind of amounts to the same. Um, so yeah, that was just something I had to put out there. I think that the top tier traders of season one could be looking at you know close to six figures in an airdrop, especially if the new EU regions come online and the hype of this airdrop reaches the big audiences that come to from the airdrop for season two. So sorry for that chill, but I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't think it was worth your time. Maybe you have to be quite big to not consider doing it, because if you're gonna trade anyways, like, you might as well come and try and earn like a decent sum of money on top of your stuff. And honestly, like, there's I'm just done shilling. That was a 7 minute shill. So back to the chart. So Bitcoin is actually, like, we spoke about, you know, the region to de-risk this would be, we spoke about rating that high and then getting rejected. Instead of, I mean, it could still happen, but it's not happening right now. Instead of that, we're just kind of, floating around here below resistance, inside a bull flag after a ton of bad news, and we're still not, lower. Everyone's building a Bitcoin treasury. I think you're insane to be bearish. I think you're insane if you're bearish. I'm not saying buy the fucking resistance here, but I actually opened the position today on an isolated account to take some degenerate risk at this, at this very price level. So, yeah, maybe I'm stupid, but I think, I don't know where that chart is. Well, I'm gonna grab that chart for next week. But my Bitcoin price prediction model, right? Well, that fucking chart that says, well, we haven't topped yet, and we shouldn't even be thinking about topping until we hit the red and the orange band that I've shown you a couple of times, and that is like way above 200K. So you're not gonna tell me that we're bull flagging near all-time highs, have an equity market making all-time highs, which is gonna, in my opinion, is on its way to 1,600, 7,000 for the S&P 500, and that Bitcoin is not gonna like go like double from here. So I don't know what to tell you, but I honestly think that whatever you do, you should be thinking about buying, not selling. So I'm not saying you have to buy here, because I'm not. There's nothing I'm saying is financial advice, but I'm saying that you should get your act together and buy dips, like we outlined here. Buy the dip, like we outlined here. Buy the dip. If you get fucked later, fine. Manage your risk, but you have to be a buyer on these dips. And if you're conservative and you want to be, a hero and short all these tops, fine. That's fine with me. I mean, generally you should do whatever you do, and I'm probably gonna get fucked if I, you know, don't manage my risk too much. But I just want to be a degenerate bull, and I think it's gonna pay off. So I'm fine taking a few hits and then run run big once the prices start going higher. So um, ETH the same. Like you could be you could be we've identified weeks and weeks ago these two levels as an in between where to get bullish on ETH BTC. We had a range. It dipped below it. It's retesting it. Well, halle fucking Luya. That's gonna go, in my opinion, if it's textbook and nothing really crazy happens, which is happening all the time. But in my opinion, goes back to the range high and then, quite possibly higher because this is a textbook consolidation and then it rips higher. So obviously, if that's the case, what's going to happen on this chart? Well, we're probably going to get back into that weekly resistance, close above it, and rally. So there's a bunch of people on Filecoin that say they want to wait until like the 69 region, which, in all fairness, I could, it's a great setup. So if it gets into here, huge buy opportunity, and I think if price is going to start trending there, we're never gonna, I'm wrong on Bitcoin, I'm wrong on ETH, and something is going to happen in between. Okay. Just as a level, 69 is a no-brain buy. Like 72 cents to 69 would be a no-brain buy for me. But do I think we're going to get there? I don't know. You rate the low here once, twice, 3 times. Fourth low, back inside the range. I wouldn't bet on it. Like I wouldn't be sure towards here. But yeah. If we get 69, I would load up the truck. And then the other thing I like to look at is hype because it's kind of laggy here. And as long as it's laggy, it's probably a sign that the market is kind of a little bit on edge. But I think it's still a good hold for, 47 and 55. It swept all the lows here and it just needs to consolidate a little bit before it can actually attack higher. If the market's going to turn sour, which I'm saying, I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I just think it's not the most likely thing to happen for me. Then we have like 1 or 2 months of runway, and then we get into August, the September freak show, and maybe we just can't get there without pain. I think we will get there without pain, and then I think it's time to reevaluate depending on whether it's geopolitics or just general credit that's gonna screw us up before we can see for the continuation. Let's see. XRP, we talked about it. Really want this price down here to hit. I'm not really trusting this shit. Whether, like it's been a very small sweep. And that small sweep, I don't know. I don't think it's enough. I think this needs to rinse like to the, to the 0.618 or the 0.69 or whatever. Down there. And then rip all the late shorts. Here is something I'm interested in though. Because it basically hit my downside cap. So essentially, yes, this is coming back to retest. I'd say that, look, if the general market is going to be bullish, this region, you see the candle bodies here and here, and the wicks here, and then you have the consolidation down here. That's where you want to buy it. I'm gonna bet you it's also the 0.786 retracement level. Let me look. Not yet completely, but it's close. So maybe a little deeper. Let's extend this. Look, nicely aligns with this low. So if we get this low rated at any point in time, I'd be a big buyer. And then let's remove these. Then we're gonna target the target that was never hit up here. So you could probably, if we're lucky, price gets into $1, $1.4, 5, one, etc. Probably get like a good 50% run into 155, if that makes sense. Yeah, so Trumpy doing the thing, consolidating. I think it's going to be around the bottom and it's going to rip. I don't know, maybe he's going to do something very good for the world or something. Or maybe Justin Sun is going to pump his bags, or I don't know. Also, just looks fairly bottomed if you consider this. So probably going to be around the bottom. The guy is too narcissistic to have his token go to zero. So he'll come up with something. And if there's a buy region, this is the buy region, in my opinion. What else? Japanese 10-year looks good. It's still below 1.5, so no reason to be scared. And other than that, there's not much I want to talk about because, I mean, obviously, AVA, if we reclaim the range here, and you should be a buyer in my opinion on AVA, but if it reclaims here and starts trading here, then I think it's gonna do its big trick. But I'd be a buyer all the way to 2300 here on the retest, maybe even like 2250. But I don't think it's gonna go lower than 2230. So I'll be a buyer here. It's probably gonna be some kind of like Adam and Eve kind of round the bottom, and then blip 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 bam. So yeah, that's it. 18 minutes. Gonna do a longer one on Monday, but with the market moving last week, I feel like we need to kind of be on point. I think that's it. Yeah. So I'll put the link to the backpack registration in the comments in the description below, and check back on July 3rd because that's when season 2 starts. So that's probably when your region, if you couldn't register before, you can probably register. And if not, then I don't know, maybe you're like living in Verwegistan or something. Yeah. So come check it out. I'll catch you next week. Cheers.